There is a silent force shaping the direction of every human life, and most people never even notice it. It doesn't make headlines. It doesn't appear on your paycheck. It doesn't show up in your bank account until years later. Yet it quietly decides whether someone spends their life struggling or building freedom. That force is mindset. Look around the world and you will see something fascinating. Some people start with almost nothing and build incredible lives of opportunity and wealth. Others begin with education, connections, and resources, yet remain trapped in the same financial cycle year after year. It forces us to ask a powerful question. What really separates these two paths? The answer is rarely income. The answer is rarely luck. The difference is the way people think. Long before wealth appears in a bank account, it appears in the mind. Every decision about money, risk, opportunity, and discipline begins with a belief about what is possible. If the belief is small, the results stay small. If the belief is bold, disciplined, and focused on growth, the results begin to expand. Many people grow up surrounded by messages that sound safe and practical. Play it safe, avoid risks, just get by. Be satisfied with what you have. While those ideas may sound responsible, they often create a mindset built for survival rather than progress. Survival thinking focuses on comfort today. Wealth thinking focuses on growth tomorrow. Comfort is powerful. It feels warm, predictable, and safe. It tells you that staying where you are is the smartest choice. But comfort rarely creates transformation. Every person who has ever built something meaningful had to step outside of comfort first. The student studying late while others relax. The entrepreneur working nights while others sleep. The individual learning new skills when it would be easier to remain the same. Growth asks more from you than comfort ever will. A wealth mindset understands something that many people ignore. Short-term discomfort is often the price of long-term freedom. Think about someone starting a business from nothing. The early days are not glamorous. There are long nights, uncertainty, mistakes, and moments when quitting feels easier than continuing. But through persistence and learning, something begins to shift. Skills improve. Opportunities appear. Systems begin to work. What once looked like risk slowly reveals itself as possibility. Those who chase only comfort often remain exactly where they started. But those who choose growth, even when it feels difficult, begin moving toward a future most people never reach. The moment a person stops asking, what feels easiest right now, and begins asking, what will make me stronger tomorrow, everything begins to change. Because wealth does not begin in the wallet. It begins in the way you think. Another powerful difference between survival thinking and wealth thinking lies in how people view money itself. Many individuals are conditioned to think almost entirely about spending. The conversation becomes centered around the next purchase, the next upgrade, the next thing to consume. But the mindset that builds financial freedom asks a very different question. Instead of asking, how can I afford this today? It asks, how can I build something that pays for this tomorrow? One mindset spends money. The other builds assets. Assets are businesses, investments, intellectual property, or valuable skills that continue producing income over time. When someone shifts their thinking from earning money to creating value, the entire financial trajectory of their life begins to change. Imagine two people earning the same income. One spends most of it improving lifestyle, new gadgets, better cars, constant upgrades. The other quietly directs part of that income into learning new skills, investing wisely, or building something that generates value. For the first few months, there may be no visible difference, but over time, the gap begins to widen. 5 years later, one person still works for money. The other has money beginning to work for them. This difference is not created by luck. It is created by thinking patterns. Fear of risk also plays a major role in keeping many people stuck. Risk makes people uncomfortable. It creates uncertainty, and the human mind naturally wants security. But avoiding risk completely often becomes the greatest risk of all. Every meaningful opportunity contains uncertainty. Every business started, every investment made, every breakthrough achieved required someone to step into the unknown. The wealth mindset does not ignore risk. Instead, it studies it. It learns how to calculate it. It replaces blind fear with informed action. Successful individuals ask questions. They gather knowledge. They prepare carefully before making decisions. Then they move forward with courage. History is filled with examples of individuals who started with very little but possessed the courage to try. Some of the most successful companies began in small rooms, garages, and modest apartments. Their founders did not have perfect certainty. What they had was a willingness to act despite uncertainty. They understood a powerful truth. Waiting for perfect conditions usually means waiting forever. Progress belongs to those who move before everything feels guaranteed. Those who learn, adapt, and keep moving forward, despite mistakes, eventually find opportunities that others never even attempt. The moment a person begins to see risk not as a wall, but as a doorway to possibility, their entire world begins to expand. One of the most transformative mindset shifts a person can make is moving from blaming circumstances to taking responsibility. It is easy to blame external factors, the economy, the job market, the lack of opportunities, or the environment someone grew up in. While those challenges can be real, they do not have to decide the final outcome of a life. Responsibility is often misunderstood. It does not mean everything that happens to you is your fault. Responsibility means you claim the power to respond. When a person takes responsibility for their growth, learning, and direction, they stop waiting for change and begin creating it. Throughout history, many successful individuals came from extremely difficult circumstances. They faced financial struggles, rejection, and uncertainty. Yet they shared one powerful belief. Their future was not controlled entirely by their starting point. Instead of surrendering to limitations, they focused on what they could control: their discipline, their effort, their willingness to keep learning. Responsibility returns power back into your hands. Another defining difference between poor thinking and wealth thinking is time perspective. Survival thinking focuses heavily on the present moment. It asks, how can I make it through this week? Or, how can I solve today's problems? Wealth thinking stretches far beyond that horizon. It asks, what decisions today will benefit me 10 or 20 years from now? This long-term vision unlocks the power of compounding. Compounding is not only a financial concept, it is a life principle. Small actions repeated consistently produce extraordinary outcomes over time. A small amount invested regularly can grow into something massive. A habit of daily learning can transform a person's skill set within a few years. Consistent discipline slowly builds momentum that eventually becomes unstoppable. Nature shows this principle everywhere. A massive tree once began as a tiny seed buried beneath the soil. At first, nothing seems to happen. Progress is invisible, but below the surface, roots are forming. Strength is developing. With patience and persistence, that small seed eventually grows into something powerful enough to withstand storms. The same process happens with mindset, habits, and financial growth. Your future will not be decided by one dramatic moment. It will be shaped by hundreds of small decisions made every day. The decision to learn instead of waste time. The decision to build rather than only consume. The decision to take responsibility rather than make excuses. Over time, those decisions compound into an entirely different life. And the most powerful realization of all is this: mindset can be changed. The thinking patterns that limit progress are not permanent. They can be replaced with new patterns built on discipline, courage, and long-term vision. When that shift happens, actions begin to change. Opportunities begin to appear. And slowly, the life that once seemed distant starts moving closer with every step forward.